Especially in the realm of Purushavada, astrology plays a huge role, okay? Because, of course, here what you believe is there is a room for free will where you can operate, you can make some changes, and that you expect it to impact in the future, right? What does it mean? That you cannot keep repeating the same patterns over and over again, which means it is insanity to expect that I keep doing what I do all over again and again, and expect a different result. That does not work, right? Same way, if you think of it, if you want to resolve a problem that is already there, okay, you created the problem by yourself, right? As I told you, it is part of your past life that you're dealing with, or even your present life. I don't care if you don't believe in past life, it is your present life. Let's say there is a problem at your hand and you expect an astrologer to help you. You have created that problem, okay? You might have not created, somebody else is creating the problem to you, but still you attracted that problem into your life because there is a debris of that wound in yourself that you're attracting it, okay? Nothing simply happens by chance. Everything is happening as per the manifestation. There are no coincidences here, all right? So you attracted that into your life and you need an astrologer to help. So if you want to resolve that problem, you cannot work with the same ideas. You cannot work on the same plane of consciousness as with which the problem was created. Keep that in mind always, because it is easy to explain, especially if I take the past life into account. Let's say some issues were a baggage from the past life, okay? You have carried that over into this life. The problems were created in a different plane of consciousness there. So if you expect to resolve that in this life with the same level of patterns that you keep repeating, it will not happen. That means you need to step up your consciousness and then try to resolve the problem with a new level of thinking, a new way of thinking. And that's where astrology comes in. That's where astrologer comes in. So now, do you want the astrologer to help you, or do you want him to just keep telling you do the same things over and over again and expect a different result? Okay, there is so much that is happening that sometimes the astrologer does not even reveal to you, but he might have just told you a few things. Okay, for instance, I can tell you, this is a very recent example I had. This is a client I got from UK, from London. A very nice person. She's a musician. She's creating music. Okay, a lot of accomplishments, very well accomplished, recognized in her field, all those things. But when I was looking at her chart, she has problems with finances. Okay, when I saw the issues with finances, it was deeply connected to relationships. Okay, not only there were problems in relationships with our partner in this life, that was deeply rooted to our problems with our father. Okay, same graha was impacting three spheres of her life, same placement. Okay, I will not reveal what that graha is, what those placements are, but what you need to understand is I just discussed approximately 2 hours with her about that placement, that graha, and those things. Okay, nothing more. So I had to open up and tell, see, these things are happening, and because of this, it will lead to this. Okay, and in the future, this might happen. So what you need to do to fix that? Okay, that was the discussion all about. Okay, what is important here? The important message is she got the reading in a very positive spirit. Although I'm very frank and I tell things openly. I'll get to that. Why do I do that? Okay, in the next few minutes, I will explain that. She took it in a very positive spirit. She gave a very good feedback. She said, nobody has told these things to me in such an open manner. Okay, I don't care about that boast that you get from doing a job right. Okay, if I just do my dharma and karma, there is nothing fancy about it. If someone praises me for that, okay, it's just part of my work. But what I'm trying to tell is that she had to step up her financial well-being. For that, it was rooted in something else. Okay, so same example I gave you about Venus the other time about nine of spade. You remember? Nine of spade. I'm go to a reading and someone tells me that you're going to live like a hermit next year. That means something else is coming up. In fact, I never made any predictions about our financial well-being, when you'll become wealthy, when you'll make money. All those things I can do. It's very easy. Like I said, with especially the kind of knowledge and skill set I've acquired now, it's very easy to make those kind of predictions. All right. I never had any problems making predictions at all in my career as an astrologer. Okay. But what I like to work with is with people making those conscious changes in those patterns, because they're not fixing one sphere of their life, they're fixing many different spheres by working with one graha. Okay, this is a very nice example I thought I should explain, because she had to step up that consciousness a little bit in one arena of life, which would literally impact the other arenas. Okay, so it was that easy to see in that chart. So, yes, if you really want to change something in the Purushavada, which means you believe in free will and you want astrology to work for you, you want to use astrology as a tool to get ahead in life, then you must be willing to hear some bitter words from the astrologer. Okay, let me put it in such easy words. All right, because the Soumya Grahas, as of course the planets Jupiter and Venus, don't think they will not use bitter words, they will. But sometimes you have to use some tough words. Like I said, tough love is needed to make the client and their life better. Okay, with only good intentions, of course. Nothing more comes in that aspects. All right. The point I'm trying to make is that really don't expect even the Purushavada, the free will, to work for you and astrology to work for you if you go in with the same patterns all over again from one astrologer to another, repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, expecting a different result. It is not going to happen. Okay, please try to understand your responsibility of a client. Okay, please try to take responsibility, be accountable. All right, second thing is, please try to take advantage of whatever is presented to you. Like I said, I was not lucky that I got all this information handed down to me in some way. All right, take this and learn. Take this and do these readings. All right, take this and your life will be better. Nobody could do that to me. All right, I was lucky to meet my teachers who gave me this knowledge in the form of teachings. But from that teachings also, I evolved it into a very different level by own practice. Okay, it is not only the teaching that is there, but a lot of other things have happened over time. Right, so if someone is able to help you, you must take that to your benefit. Okay, those bitter words are not personal attacks here. All right, and it is very important you register that, because setting the expectations right, that is what I'm trying to tell you. Setting the expectations right as an astrologer from our side, setting the expectations right as a client from your side is very important. Okay, especially if you believe in Purushavada, especially if you believe in free will. If you believe in Vidivada, then astrology is just fun for you. You come to us and we predict. It is like playing a game of roulette, okay, or even a game of dice, for instance. You just play that, and yeah, everything happened according to the prediction, or it did not happen. What happened? Can you check again? Do it again, and it becomes that fun banter. Okay, you're just telling, oh, I know God has already written the script for me. Let me see what is in store. Okay, that is the Vidivada. All right. So keep these thoughts in mind. All right. Please set the expectations right, and don't think the astrologer has any agenda against you. Nobody has. Okay. At least from my experience of the world I've seen, maybe there are people I don't know. And don't think there are people like good clients always that will come to your office also. Okay. In my experience, I've seen both. I've seen some astrologers that create problems for clients. I've seen some clients that create major problems for astrologers. Both of it has happened. Okay. So we have bitter apples and good apples on both sides. So you have to see the perspective as it is. Okay, that is the clarity that I want to give. When you see things, try to look at it from two different points of view, not only your one point of view. Okay, this is the problem with an afflicted Mercury. I always tell, when you present information, when you present knowledge, when you present news, also like you're presenting things, right? So if you have a news channel in anywhere in the world, they have to present the news and information as it is, literally verbatim, okay, as it happened. Don't color things for yourself, don't personalize things, don't come to conclusions and try to change the opinion of your viewers through you. That's not going to happen. Okay, you can tell that as your observations if you want, but you have to be very clear, you have to be very open about it, saying that this is my view, this is my observations, you can take it or leave it, but the news is this. Because many times, right, what has happened would be totally different, polar opposite than what is being projected in the news and media. Okay, same things happen in astrology as well. Two different things, polar opposites. You don't want that. This happens a lot in scientific community as well. You don't believe how many people I come across who would have done some experiments and completely misinterpreted and bungled those experiments and derived a opposite conclusion of what is presented there. Okay, first thing is that is all wrong experiments. Second thing is they would have written a wrong paper and a wrong conclusion and glorified that results and made some major publications as well. Okay, because they completely bungled it, they made a complete polar opposite understanding of that result. All right, and I'm glad some of them did not continue. I'm really glad about that, because that is the way the world is, right? You have to be vigilant, you have to be like an intellectual kshatriya in this world. Okay, you have to stand up for yourself and your knowledge and your wisdom also, because many people will test that. Okay, an intellectual kshatriya is a person that is going to fight for what he stands behind, for his ideals and so on. All right, and that is important for today's day and age. Otherwise there is a lot of fake information and fake knowledge being circulated. Okay, you have to be vigilant, you have to know what is right from the wrong, you have to use your viveka. Okay, if you do not have that, then you will be in trouble in this world. All right, with especially this realm of occult sciences. Why? Because not only astrology, think about it, think about spirituality. All right, think about yoga, think about tantra. Do you know how many people sit there in meditation and start imagining things? They would have read some book about Kundalini Yoga. They would have gone to some guru. He would have told some descriptions about it. They would have read some other book. And then they sit there assuming that this is their reality. Okay, they are expecting something will shake and something will open up within me, and tomorrow I will be enlightened. No, it does not work like that. I'm so sorry to break this news. Again, this is a direct hit, blunt answer to you. It does not work like that. I'm sorry. Okay, because you cannot listen to someone else's experience and live that reality within you. That does not work. Okay, that is imagination, that is fantasy. Someone would have told, oh, this vibration is shaking me up, my whole body, my this chakra got activated, that chakra got activated, this guru did that to me. All those things, unless and until you come to the terms with that reality by your own experience, you will not be able to conclude that is the truth. You will not be able to experience that reality. It will still be a fantasy. Okay, and there is a lot of difference there between reality and fantasy. The same thing as I told between sanity and insanity, there is a lot of difference because when you're going through meditation experiences, you'll go through certain deep states sometimes, and in those deep states you'll go through certain experiences which will make you question reality really. Okay, and if you get too absorbed in that state and really sucked into that state, then you lose touch with reality. Okay, and then you will believe that these things are happening because I heard this sounds also. You'll hear sometimes some unusual unnatural sounds when you're meditating in a very deep state. Okay, I'm not again trying to give this impression on you. This is my personal experiences. So you have to come to grounds with that reality many times, right? If you're not, then you will start living someone else's reality within you, which is false reality. Okay, so please try to understand why I'm trying to tell you that these things matter from the point of view of the expectations that you have from astrology, spirituality, or even an astrologer for that matter. Okay, so all these things are sort of connected: the Purushavada, Vedivada, what is Jyotish, what is astrology, which grahas rule that, what is spirituality, which grahas rule that, why they act like that. Okay, all of that is the fundamentals. You see, I still gave you the example of Bali Chakravarti. For that moment, you might have felt it is like a upakate, which means a small story that I'm telling you. Yes, it was a story, but I connected that with astrology. You see, for me, I live and I breathe and I see astrology in everything. This is my reality in what I do. Okay, so if you want to find answers, you can find answers in everything like that. Okay, so it depends how much you're willing to go, how farther you're willing to go with that. Okay. Okay, coming to Jyotish again, I really like that word Jyotish, right? Because what does it mean in the end? So, Jyotish is all about shining light. Okay, the astrologer is shining light on the path of the person, whoever is seeking that reading. Okay, that's why it is called the eye of the Vedas. No Vedas, all right, no Shastras that are there, no form of practices that we have in the Sanatana Dharma philosophy literally can show the reality as clearly as astrology can do. All right, that is the reality of it if you know how to use it. Okay, and the eyes as an organ is also ruled by the sun. Okay, and the sense of sight is Mars. Again, you see, those are two Krura grahas. They are not grahas like Jupiter and Venus, which can, of course, give you some good, vibes and, can talk to you in a nice way, listen to you, and, how many ever times you keep telling that same story over and over again, still be nice towards you. Okay. But as I told you, some things, the ground reality of things will be different, and you should be able to see that and listen to that also, which comes from these planets. Okay, so who is in darkness here? And the darkness can be like we are in darkness ourselves, right? When I'm looking at my chart, I'm in darkness. When I'm looking at the client's chart, it is the client that is having some issues. So when we shed some light on it, what happens to that darkness? It is banished, right? You become aware. A single speck of light, literally, you have a dark room, just light one matchstick, it will illuminate the whole room. That is the capacity of that light, right? That is why light means spirituality, light means awakening. Okay, that is the power of the sun. All right, so a single speck of light is enough to open up that, and that's when in a reading you can just talk about one single thing that they are to know in that given point of time, which will touch them in a certain way, that they will open up. All that is needed is that one single thing. Okay, if they're willing to listen, of course, that is the different story, right? So, what happens if in a dark room I turn on the light? What do you think will happen? All right. So, imagine that there is a place in the jungle, all right, some deep forest, where it's like a mystical forest, not a normal forest, a very mystical forest. And that place is like a small home. Nobody has been in that home for a very long time. And then it's been like a not a haunted house, just like a house that is abandoned for a long time. And in the night, you go there and you turn on the light. What do you expect? Do you expect things will go according to what you want, or do you expect things will be surprising sometimes? Do you expect things will be awakening sometimes? Do you expect some horror things also to be found there? Okay. Sometimes in that house, you can find all nice things. Maybe you'll find a treasure. Maybe you'll find a dead body. Okay. Maybe you'll find skeletal. Maybe you'll find some creeping creatures. All right. Maybe you'll find some old person living there. All right. Or you will find a guru there. Anything is possible, right? There is a world of possibilities in that house. Okay. What I'm trying to tell, in that house, you go in the night and you shine light. What do you expect? You expect to see many things from different points of view. All right. And that's basically it. When we are talking about your chart, it will be everything. All right. There will be good, bad, and ugly sides to it. That's why I always do SWOT analysis of the chart, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. This is my recommendation also to astrologers who want to try that. Every graha, every placement, every house, everything that is happening in astrology will have its own strength, its own weakness, its own opportunities, its own threats. Okay. Again, a good Mercury will communicate those things as it is. All right. As it is, verbatim. I don't care. No personalization. I'm telling you the truth as it is. All right. I don't have anything to do with it. It's just a neutral thing to me. All right. So if you know how to read that, you will do a SWOT analysis. Of course, you boost the strength of the grahas for the planet and you tell these things are your strength. Probably you're already aware of it. If not, take advantage of it, make best use of it. Okay. Or if you want to bolster it, great, do it. Okay. Then we have weaknesses, and that's why they are with you, right? They are coming to you for the reason they have a weakness. They don't come to you because they have a strength. That is stupid to think like that, right? So if they come to you, they have a weakness, then you have to deal with that weakness more. So a good astrologer would spend more time talking about your weakness, not about your strength. It's as simple as that, because if I talk about your strength, then you'll tell you did not, get the best out of the reading. What did I pay you for? I paid you for resolving my problems and you're talking about my strengths, right? It's not worthy of time. It can be if you know how to twist that strength into their weakness and tell how to use their strength for the overcoming of the weakness, which we will do. Okay, provided the client has booked you for such a long time and they've paid you enough money, you can do that. But most often they don't, right? They give you a very short time where you have to discuss all those things very quickly, and they expect a miracle out of a 1 hour reading. The whole chart, the whole life has to be explained to them in 1 hour reading. How does it work? It does not work. I'm sorry. Right? So that is one thing you have to keep in mind. So the chart is like that. It is like that mystical forest house. Okay, you go there, you can find anything that you want, and depends on the astrologer, his skill, his navigation skills in the chart. Okay, his navigation in the forest, his ability to shine light, his ability to look like a detective. He will be able to figure out whatever he wants and whatever he likes to talk about. Okay, so that is something you have to keep in mind. You have to really understand where the client stands, and what you are finding in the chart, and whether that is the answer or not. Okay, like I said, sometimes you are in that house and you have only one matchstick, but it's a huge house, so you light the matchstick in one place. You might find some things that the client is not necessarily looking for, but still that is important at that time. Okay, so you tell that to them. Okay, that is what you found. Okay, because that is within your limits of the skills, or that is within your, you know uh, time frame. Okay, or That is what the client had to know at that time. All right. So that is very important to keep in mind. And like I said, if the client comes in with the expectation to find treasure, but you found a dead body there, don't hesitate. Just tell the thing as it is. Okay. Because that is the reality. It might hurt them, it might disappoint them, but you can tell, unfortunately, this person also came in here looking for the treasure and is found dead. That is a reality sometimes. Okay. So you have to learn to see things for what they are and try to communicate that to the client the way they are. Okay. Like I said, don't worry about telling the things as they are. Okay. That is at least my approach, and I will tell you why that is the approach. I will come to that in a bit. Okay. So the next part, I would want to give another example in the same lines. In the Upanishads, we have a very classical example we use, okay, for spirituality, and that is about the rope in the room. Okay, there is a dark room once again. Okay, today it's all about horror kind of examples. It's a dark room. There is a rope in the room. All right, but there was a person sitting in the room, and they did not have any light, and they got scared just looking at the features of that rope and looking at the way the rope looks. Okay, looking at the placement and such of that rope, because they assumed it was a snake. Okay, so this is basically the grand reality of things when you get clients. Most often they will be in that state where they are in that room assuming that it's a snake, but in reality it is not a snake, it is just a simple rope. Okay, when you shine light, you have to explain to them, see, all these times you thought this was a snake, but in reality it is not a snake, it is a rope. Okay, and if an astrologer tells you that in a way that is easy to process, good and great. But sometimes he will tell you that all these days you have just been thinking this is a snake, but in reality this is not. And this is the root cause of the problem. They might tell you in some straightforward ways, and that might not come across very easy for you. Okay, a simple example I want to give with that. Okay, next videos I will talk a bit more on all these things, but now I will just talk a little bit on this in this example. Is that, take depression for that matter. Okay, so depression is such a difficult, mental illness to deal with. All right, and it's not easy to explain, not easy to process in a human being for that matter. Okay, because from the outside it looks like everything is fine, but internally they will be going through a lot of problems. Okay, so if this kind of a person wants to change their life, no matter how many therapy sessions they go, no matter how many astrologers they go, the shift has to come from them. Okay, so same example, if you take, the shift has to come from them, but it is not easy. I mean, it's easier said than done. I've been through these things myself, so I can tell you what it is, right? So this is not like a common flu or something that you can resolve. It's a very difficult phenomenon. Okay, it's difficult because nobody has an easy answer to it. All right, there are many reasons that we can go through these phases of depression. Okay, but anyway, the client has to make that work, right? Whether you go to a therapist or an astrologer or a spiritual monk, they will still give you some tips and tricks, but you have to make that giant leap of faith. So, depression is what? Living the same things over and over again. Okay. It is like you have a horror movie that you're watching. You don't like that movie whatsoever. One bit you don't like. Okay. But you want to play that movie day in and day out, day in and day out. You don't like it, but you want to do that. Okay, it's how difficult that is. You know that is not good for you, but still you want to play that. Okay, day in and day out you're watching that. How easy it is to look at it from the point of view of an outsider and tell, why don't you change the channel? That would be the logical thing to do, right? You don't like the movie, just change the channel, as simple as that. But for that person who is depressed, it's very hard to do that. Okay, they can't make that shift very quickly. They have to go through that process. They will feel that process. They will, you know, feel the gravity of things very much when they're going through that. Okay, all said and done, it is that easy. Okay, to tell, please change the channel. It's a horror movie for you. Don't watch that. You don't like it anyways. But you might tell that in a reading. You might, even the therapist might tell that, the psychiatrist might tell that. Psychiatrists, they are very easy to do that. They will just prescribe you some antidepressants and they will get you in shape very quickly. Okay, but you will be hooked on to that for a long time. So that's not good. But in any case, if, like the snake and the rope, if the astrologer tells you, see, that was just a rope, that was not a snake, he might tell you in a way that it will maybe not come across easy for you to process, but he will tell you in a very straightforward manner, please, that is not a snake, this is your reality, that's a rope. You must be willing to accept that answer, that it's a rope. You cannot attack the astrologer and tell it's a snake. That means at that stage you are flipping the coin and trying to sort of gaslight the astrologer. Okay, so don't go in with these kind of expectations in the readings. All right, and when an astrologer has found it and you of course maybe don't agree with it and you want to give feedback, that's a different story. But when there is a distinction clearly between a snake and a rope in the chart, don't be afraid as an astrologer you to communicate that to the client. That's the truth. All right, do not hesitate. Okay, so this is the main things that I wanted to discuss about Jyotish, what Jyotish means, why it is important, how to use it, and so on. Next, I want to give a little bit of way of working, all right, some tips and tricks, and how to actually get successful readings, the secret behind all of these things. Okay.